Let's see, we get this thing going right. Make sure here. Greetings, fellow model makers. Today we're going to go over something I've come up with for some spark plug wires. Besides little boots, I'm talking about looms. Spark plug looms. First things first, if you go to Hobby Lobby and you go in the jewelry department, they have these wires here. There's some gold, silver. It comes in this whole set, all these together in one package. I think it was like $10, $10, $15, something like that. And you get all these wonderful colors. Alright, you got gold, copper, red, gold, pink, black, purple, blue, green, silver. Now for my spark plugs I chose the black. This is a Buick Riviera engine. I don't know the technical whatever of a Buick Riviera engine, but there it is. And you can see these wires are nice and fine. Here's I don't know if I can get this in the light, but I'll try. I just ran some of the red wire and I took these two silver out of the power brakes and just disappear under the firewall. And these for the blower motor and a wiper motor, and I'm going to run under the wire down, but that's minor. But you can pick these up at Hobby Lobby. You go down the jewelry aisle, you find a lot of stuff there that you can use for model making. Next is the styrene. Now, what I found is what I thought was, this was a regular like flat piece of styrene, and it wasn't. Let's see if I can. Boy, that's small. This is I don't even know if I can get it to focus. I doubt it. Anyway, it's an H beam. And what I found out is, let's see if I can figure out how big this is. Watch us have dead batteries in it now, right? It figures. Yeah, batteries are dead. You know, all the times I don't use this thing, and I got dead batteries. Oh well. But I don't know the size of this, but I think if you eyeball it, you can get an idea. If you go pick up, these are like scrap styrene here. Now, I'm no wealthy modeler, okay? I don't have display tools and Tamiya this and Vallejo that. Even my airbrushes are kind of cheap. But I do this because I like doing it. Alright, let's get down to what we're here for. This is, I'm going to zoom in on this here. This is my distributor. This is the distributor that came with the model. Now what I did is I used my micro drills. You can also pick these up in Amazon. I mean, if you think about it, they're not that expensive. You could tell by the upside down ones I've broken quite a few. So that's the only drawback to these. They're very fragile, but they work well. And I took this piece of plastic, okay, and what I did is I took, well, first of all, these are this is my attempt at seatbelts, and they came out so crappy. I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go buy the photo etched ones, which is what I did. Anyway, I spent some time and I put together all these things. Let's see if I can get in on it here. Alright. Found out that if you drill holes in it, you can make a loom. Now here's that small, this one right here. That's that H channel, like an I-beam type deal. This one here. And I just drilled 4 holes in it, and they fit these wires. Now you see I painted some gunmetal, and I've already put them here. There's one here and one here. So what I'm going to do, also make everything bigger. Alright, like this distributor is really high. I drilled the holes. It's such a mess that I covered it with that light sensitive resin, cooked it, and I made it a long tube. Now when it comes time to install it, I'm going to cut it right here, drill the bottom, and it should have no trouble fitting. I think it kind of fits now. It was in a Riviera, it goes here in the front. Alright, and I know it's going to clear the air cleaner. Also, here's some more of those little wires that were in that kit. I made this one from the carburetor down to the fuel pump. This here from the vacuum. Run one down to the exhaust. I mean to the transmission. Hey, look, it's not accurate. It's just cool. I mean, I'm not entering any shows. You know, I'm just doing this for myself. Okay. And I thought I'd share some of my hobby with you and how I do this stuff on the cheap. Put it that way. And now you get a piece like this, okay, and you grab yourself a toothpick. Stab the toothpick through one of these little holes. Be careful, this is going to fly everywhere. And once I have it like that, then I just painted it gunmetal. And you can see I got, I think it's a 3-hole one here. Yeah, I was going to go 4-hole, and 3-hole, and 2-hole. And I figured that's going to be awfully crowded. So I'm just going to do 2 4-hole looms. Now the interesting thing you could do here is once you have the loom here, alright, and everything's run, and you glue this here to the engine block somewhere, you can then take your X-Acto knife and cut the top off, and then you'd have what would look more like a traditional loom. You'd have the holes, put a touch of CA glue where the wires go through, and then take your X-Acto knife and cut the top of the H off, and you got a decent looking loom. I think so anyway. Like I said, I'm not entering any contest. This is for me, because I love to do stuff like that. Especially I have all these scrap pieces. One of the other things I've done, as long as we're talking about scrap pieces, let's put this aside, let's get rid of the engine. In every model kit, you get your fan belt, you know, and you attach it to the front of the engine, and then you have something like this guy here, this pulley, this one here, it's just floating out into space. Now, that's, I mean, you can get away with it. Nobody looks at it. Decide, oh, by the way, I made my own fan belts out of masking tape and painted them. So they have a little bit of flex to them. I don't know why I did that. Just trying new stuff. But let me tell you what I mean with these pieces. I got some I painted. I always make things bigger than I need. So I took these strips here and I painted them. And what's going to happen is once I mount the fan belt assembly and the pulleys, I'm going to go behind that pulley. I'm going to take this here to attach it to the engine. Make sure I'm in the camera here. Back up a little bit. attach it to the engine, and then attach it to the back of, say, my alternator here. Alright, now what I did, this is dry, I used the micro drills. I drilled out the back of the alternator because you know it goes on the pulley, and I just stuck a red wire here. Alright, now this red wire is going to connect to the battery. So here's the battery, and as you can see, I've already attached the negative wire. Once I mount this, I'll run the positive wire in, that hole here, and glue it down. Just, you know, so you have, instead of this thing floating in space with nothing attached to it, I figure attach a wire, you flatten it out, you get yourself a little bracket, put it on the back of this, and attach this to the engine block. Just, I don't know, I don't like the idea of it floating in space. It just doesn't look right to me. I'm doing all this stuff on the real cheap too. Like I said, I don't have any professional tools or, you know, stuff you buy. I started buying stuff. I started buying like the little electric arrow, whatever, arrow mark drill, and disc base sander, and I wound up using my hands anyway. There's another part that I decided to run something off of. This is the power steering pump. And I just took these two lines here that I drilled in, and I'm going to put a bracket on this. I'm going to take these power steering lines and just run them under the engine towards where the steering linkage would be. If you're familiar with the 1969 Buick Riviera model, it's not very detailed. Alright, it's... I'll grab the piece of it here. Well, here's my tub that I made the carpeting, painted it all. I just had to put the seat belts on, did the dash, alright. But if you look at the bottom, I mean, come on. The exhaust is attached to the plastic. There's no real steerage linkage, so when I make that steering line, all I'm going to do is run it and bury it somewhere behind here. So it looks like it's got some kind of steering. The only thing I'd probably have left to do on this is weather it. Maybe make the gas tank gray. Not worry about the spare. I mean, also with this model, like I said, as far as details go, it's not the best. I just happen to like Buick Rivieras because I had one growing up. And if you look at the engine, where the engine mounts, the front axle goes right through the engine. So, I mean, how realistic is that? I mean, this is where your axle goes. So what I might do is get a piece of tubing and just make a piece of tubing this size and paint it like gunmetal. I don't know, this is the idea of the bare metal axle going through the oil pan. Just doesn't sit right with me. I'm sure it doesn't sit right with you either. So now that I've shown you some of the stuff I've already assembled, I got one last part to do. As one last boot, because this is my... It doesn't even come with a coil in the model. So I made a little coil. Where did I put that little sucker? There, just a piece of plastic. Drill the holes the size of the wire. I'll put this somewhere in the engine block. And this wire here will run to it. Now you can see I've made boots. just little pieces of the wire left over from doing the alternator and the battery. And if you're going to do that and you're going to mount little boots onto your wire, it's always good to take the wire and hook it, so when you're playing with it, moving around, you don't lose these little boots, because that's going to drive you up a frickin' wall, let me tell you. So according to this, I have one last one to do, and that's this guy right here. Now you see I've already threaded them to the two looms. So I have the boots on the distributor, and I have the boots on the spark plugs, and I've already drilled the holes in the engine block. They're right above the exhaust manifold. I don't know if you can see them. I'm not doing too good focusing this camera this close. Let's see. There they are. There's the holes I drilled. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once I put the valve cover on, right here, then I can attach the loom, and it'll come out of the distributor to the loom, and then it'll fan out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it'll look a little neater. I don't know. So now a simple way of doing a loom. Let's get rid of all this neat stuff, because I don't want to lose any of it. Especially all these little pieces I cut, because I may not use them, but you never know when you're going to need like a little L-shaped bracket or something, or maybe the water hoses, the heater hose. This is a larger H-beam. You can see it's quite large, so it doesn't fit the scale, considering the one I used was this size. If I could do this without dropping it. And then, like I said, this is only a 3. Alright, so let's try and scoop these back in this little container here. Give me a second. Like I said, I don't want to drop any of them. Especially if you have carpeting on the floor, forget it. You'll never find these. One day you'll step on them and you'll find them, and it's like 3 years after you built the damn model. Alright. Also with the Riviera, we took the time to strip down and take the chrome off. We're going to use a Molotov chrome pen, and I got the ink refill, and I'm going to put that in my airbrush. And because I'm not sure if the airbrush can handle it, I don't know what kind of damage it might cause or how to clean it, so I'm going to go to Harbor Freight and pick up like a $20 airbrush just to put the chrome on this, and just in case all my upcoming models, anything that needs chrome, I put them all aside and getting ready. This is a 30s Ford. That's part of the Gangbuster series. So things like this that I'm going to chrome, but with a more realistic chrome than the one they give you. Because let's face it, that chrome kind of looks like crap. So I'll put these aside. So now we're going to make a boot. I see a lot of people struggling with this, but there's a real easy way to do it. I'm going to show you that. Like I said, make everything bigger than you need. These spark plug wires are long. Why? Because I don't know how they're going to fit, but I'd rather have too much than be short. And besides, this stuff's really not that expensive, so it's not like I'm wasting it. Same with this wire. This came out of an Ethernet cable. Alright, so the first thing I do is trim this off to make it even. Okay. Now, even though my boots are very short, like I said, I'm going to make this longer. So all I'm going to do is just drag the blade over it, pull on it, and there you go. I don't even need this anymore. The rest is done with the nippers. So here is my boot material. Now if you're going to sit here and try and thread that onto that wire, you're going to go bananas. Okay? But here's an easy way to do it. You take a pin, or in my case this scribe here, which has a pretty decent, that's a pretty decent point. Okay? I find the opening. This is going to take time. I might be out of range of the camera. I'm going to try and stay in camera, but find the opening, just push it in, spread it. Okay? Then I go and do the same on the other side. Push it in, spread it. Now you can use a straight pin, a sewing needle, piece of wire, anything. Just, you got to open these up after you cut them off a regular wire, because this little nipper will squeeze it and you don't have an opening anymore. So now most people will have this in their hand and they'll try to thread the wire onto it. What I found is if you take your awl or your pin and you leave it on there, now you have like a tool. Okay? So I just find the end and push it on. I might have made this one a little too long, but you get the idea. Alright, it's on. Push it down. I push it down until it comes out the other side. Alright, so now the boot's on. There. It's on. Now you got to figure out how long you're going to make it. Now, like I said, I don't do anything with that much precision. At each one of these are so many millimeters or so many inches, whatever. I go by eye, and I figured, okay, I'm going to make it this long, which kind of looks like the other ones. Now here's where it gets fun. Cut it, leave that piece, and push. As soon as you cut it, push it. Otherwise it flies off the end. Now you slide it down, and before you do anything else, you bend this to a hook. Otherwise, you're going to lose that boot. So here's the boot, next to the other one, next to the other one. I put them all up against the loom, like that. Same on the other side, so I can get a count, so I know everything is. Everybody's got a boot, even the distributor. Now these wires are kind of stiff. People are saying, oh no, I don't like those. They want to use solder, or they want to use whatever you want. Okay, I don't mind using this wire that's kind of stiff, because once I get it in place, I'm going to shape the runs and they're not going to move. And then once I cut the distributor down and glue it in place, then put the coil in, then mount the loom on the engine block, and then run each of these to the cylinders, I'm done. That's it. That's how you make a loom. And also, here's a little piece left over. I don't know how many of you have a little parts thing, but I save stuff like this. You should too. You never know when you're going to need it. So I have a little container here. And boom, saved. Done. And once the engine's done, there's all that's left to do here is I painted the valve covers aluminum for a Riviera. You see they still have the, what is it? I don't know why they did this, but both valve covers have the filler cap. So I'm going to have to fill one of these in, and I'll panel line it, so the R logo comes out. Mount them on the engine block, and then mount my looms, glue it down, cut the top of the loom off, and Bob's your uncle. And that's all it's going to take. Let's see. One more thing, that if you go to Hobby Lobby, you go to the jewelry place, you get these beads. Okay? These are black. They're very tiny. See if I can get one out. There's one in the cap. Let's see if I can fish it out. Now, these are the wrong ones, unfortunately. These are too short. I'll find a use for them. I hate bringing stuff back. You see what I mean? How tiny it is. And I can use that on the end of a hose, I guess, like a clamp. Actually, I need to double this length. And you have ready-made boots for your spark plug wires. But go down the aisle where the jewelry is, and you'll find wire. You'll find those color wires I showed you. They're definitely scale-size spark plug wires. And one other thing that they had there, I want to show you, was on the end cap. Let me fish it out. Is this stuff. And this stuff's used for making bracelets, but it is rubber. This is the perfect size for radiator hose. You put a piece of wire in here, you drill a hole, you stick it in, boom, radiator wire. I don't have my radiator out yet, but I did drill some holes in the firewall. Firewall I showed you earlier. Let me get that back out here. You can see those two holes right here. And that's going to be for my heater core. So I'm going to run those two hoses out along the fender to the engine. It's not a very detailed model, but I'm going to try my best to add my own little flair and my own little detail. Well, that's it. That's spark plugs and looms. I hope I gave you some ideas. And don't ever throw things away. Keep it. Because you never know, like that little piece of styrene that I used to make the loom with. Normally I would throw that out. And then where would I be? I think that's all I had to show you this time around. Oh yeah, starter. There's the starter for the Buick Riviera. I drilled a hole in it, and I'm going to run a wire from the starter to the engine block to a box that's on the fender. I don't have to, but I want to. And that's the whole idea of model making. Do what you want. It's your model. And if you're going to go to competitions, you're going to go to shows or whatever, and if you do it really good, you never know. That little innovation, judges may like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Hope you pick something up, and happy modeling.